Hello everybody. I made a post on the community site about Pluto transits and what that might mean for developments, especially in the next 10 years. I'll go ahead and post a link down there to it if you haven't read it yet, but I kind of want to flesh it out a little bit more here. I've been paying attention to transits for a long time. If you're not familiar with astrology, then it might just seem like a whole other language. But these are very powerful transits, and they're very well documented. The impact that it has on individuals, on society, and on civilization itself. Books have been written on it. There's a lot of very conscientious people paying attention to that. I've noticed things that some people may not be noticing. And when I take it in context with the Allies of Humanity briefings and everything else that's unfolding, this Pluto transit is really important. The fact that Pluto will be entering Aquarius for the first time on March 23rd, 2023. It will go back out and go into retrograde for a little bit, but then when it enters Aquarius permanently in 2024, January 20th, 2024, it will be conjunct the Sun that day. So the very day that we actually move into Aquarius in that year, when the Sun moves into Aquarius, that very day, the planet Pluto will also be moving into Aquarius. You have to, like I said in the post, you have to really appreciate just how powerful of a synchronicity that is. You know, it takes Pluto anywhere from 12 years to, you know, sometimes longer, sometimes like 15 years to get through one sign. That's how slow it moves. And for Pluto to be conjunct the Sun when it permanently enters Aquarius is a really big deal. Every time Pluto enters a sign, it dredges up hidden things about that sign. Darker things. It shines a light. It shines like a really bright light on any darkness that may be within a sign. It's almost like if you turn a light on in a room and you see cockroaches scatter. That's sort of like what Pluto does. For example, when Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, we had the great economic crash in the States and all the scandals that came to the surface as a result of that. Capricorn has a lot to do with big money, big wigs, big corporations. I'm talking giant things in that realm. So, of course, people saw it coming. I mean, people predict that kind of thing. As soon as Pluto entered Capricorn, cockroaches scatter. Things are being brought to the surface. Shit is hitting the fan. In that post, I also noted the one that I find fascinating is when Pluto entered Scorpio. When Pluto entered Scorpio in 1983, music became very dark and experimental. We started to see things like heavy metal, death metal, experimental electronic music, industrial music, all kinds of different genres of metal, heavy metal, darker music, experimentation, and it was almost like a shamanic purging. Now, it was very therapeutic, and that's what Scorpio is all about. Of course, there's darker elements to it, but there's also good things about it as well. Like when Pluto entered Capricorn, you saw the darkness of Capricorn be brought to the surface, but you also saw people looking within, this is really focusing an attention within themselves. And what happened after that is we saw a real growing interest in coaching, self-starter stuff, business coaching, and people really trying to, get their act together and trying to promote themselves and market themselves and things they believe in. Probably some really good things have come out of that from the whole time Pluto was in Capricorn. Pluto is still in Capricorn, actually. But there's a gradation, when Pluto gets close to leaving a sign and entering another sign, you start to kind of feel it. A part of you is preparing for it. Now, I've told you a little bit about what these signs mean, like Scorpio, a little bit, having to do with the deeper psyche, kind of like a transformative, shamanic, therapeutic thing that somebody might experience. And Pluto is actually very harmonious within the sign of Scorpio. Pluto actually rules Scorpio because they're so harmonious in their action within our psyche and our lives. So there was actually kind of harmony. But when Pluto enters Aquarius, that's going to be a really, really big deal. And I'm trying to bring people's attention to this as much as I can. I'm not like going crazy harping on it, but it is actually a really big deal. Let me tell you a little bit about Aquarius. We're moving into an age of Aquarius through the precession of the equinoxes. If you don't know what the precession of the equinoxes is, you can look that up, but we've been moving through different ages with the precession of the equinoxes. The tilt of the Earth slowly goes through the signs. It spends about 2,000 years in one sign. And it moves backwards through the signs. And we can see this throughout ancient history, the different ages. You can absolutely see it, especially the changeovers. We can absolutely see, especially with people who are in the know, possibly Gnostics of some kind who had ancient knowledge of this kind of thing. For example, moving from the age of Taurus into the age of Aries. Moving from Taurus into Aries about, it was like 4,000 years ago. You could see it, like Mithras killing the bull, sacrificing Taurus. And there's a lot of other things about that. That's the time when Akhenaten was around, and there was this huge push to bring in the age of Aries, which was very domineering. Some people noticed that with Akhenaten, what was going on at that time. It's as if some were trying to utilize the age of Aries in a way to just dominate, which is a lot of what Aries has to do with, again. And some people have correlated Akhenaten to Moses. And you remember Moses found his followers worshiping a golden calf, meaning they were worshiping Taurus still, as if they were, stuck on Taurus. But he came down from the mountain with the law, right? And it's very kind of stern, very, very kind of Aries in a way. Very, fiery and almost electrical in a sense. Very individual, but also very powerful. Bringing in a new law for people. And we saw this with the beginning of the age of Pisces with Jesus and what that meant. And all through the age of Pisces, how it had a thing about it. Pisces can be kind of dark. And within the age of Pisces, we had things like the Dark Ages. A lot of superstition, a lot of, things being hidden. That's everything Pisces. Things needing to be hidden, things needing to be protected, subconscious, dreams, all kinds of things like that. But now, we're moving out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius through the precession of the equinoxes. And there's kind of like an astrological initiation process with that. And Pluto actually entering Aquarius is a big part of that initiation. Really big part. Aquarius has everything to do with community. It has a lot to do with objectivity. It's not about just living your dreams and all that kind of thing. Follow your dreams. That's all very age of Pisces. You've seen people say that kind of thing. Follow your dreams. It's like, no, we have to start becoming very, very objective. Very, very Aquarius, actually. But Aquarius does have a spiritual nature to it. It concerns your deeper relationships and your alliance and your allegiance. What are you allied with? What is your allegiance to? Very important. But the kind of objectivity that Aquarius can bring can really bring freedom. That's another meaning of Aquarius, freedom. True freedom. But what is freedom? Freedom to be chaotic? Freedom to just do what you want, right? There's freedom in being objective and being responsible for your world and for yourself, gaining a greater perspective, understanding your deeper connection with other people and relationship, very deep relationships. Some of these are spiritual relationships. When Pluto enters Aquarius, we're going to really see that, and we're going to really start feeling that very powerfully. Now, when Pluto enters Aquarius, we're going to see some of the dark sides of Aquarius come out. In the same way we've seen dark sides of other signs come out when Pluto enters that sign. With Aquarius, there may be dark sides concerning utopianism, certain kinds of cults, maybe allegiances, well, absolutely allegiances and alliances that are actually dark, that are not allied with humanity. Understand this. You can guarantee that this darker content of Aquarius with alliances and allegiances that are not serving humanity are going to be brought to the surface. Things are going to start coming out. And at that point, they are really going to start rolling things out. The intervention is doing a lot of things to make it look like it would be a good idea, as if there are space brothers, right? To make it look like there are space brothers. No, that this is evolution. This is how it should be, right? They're manipulating the whole meaning of what it really means. There is a greater meaning within Aquarius. That's all throughout the new message, relationship and spiritual family, greater community, responsibility, freedom, what freedom really means. All that deeply spiritual and objective stuff that we can really utilize for our own benefit. But darker sides of Aquarius that are going to be starting to be really brought out when Pluto enters it. And especially during the whole transit, for the whole 15 years that it's in there. I think it might be about 15 years or so. We're going to start seeing that. Humans that are allied with beings that are not actually for humanity. We're going to see allegiances that are maybe not that wholesome. And trying to get all of humanity behind this false alliance, this false allegiance. Aquarius also has a lot to do with technology and our technological development. That's a really big deal. And part of the inducement of the intervention is actually seducing people with technology. As if it will be our savior, as if that's what needs to save us. So there will be a very sharp divide that will be shown during that time. You're either allied with humanity or you're allied with these other beings and all of their manipulation. They are going to be doing things to try and split humanity apart from itself, which is why no matter what happens in the media, You cannot get pulled into that stuff and be going crazy over it. Because a lot of that is going to be used by the intervention to keep splitting humanity against itself so that they can pretend to be the unifiers of humanity. They want humanity to look so hopeless, so ridiculous, so chaotic, so destructive, that we would want them to help us. That we would want to unify with their guidance. So you have to understand this. 2024 is an important year. It is election year. Okay? Think about that. What is going to be happening in 2024 in terms of the elections in this country, in the United States, is going to be insane. And you can guarantee that the intervention is going to be inflaming sides against each other more than ever before. Because that year Pluto is going to be entering Aquarius. And which is why it's so important that no matter what happens in the media, that you are allied with humanity no matter what. No matter how ignorant they might seem, no matter how much they might seem like, you know, the intervention wants you pointing the finger at everybody. It will use conspiracies to do this. It will do all kinds of things to do this. It wants humanity to tear itself apart. And I'm telling you that you can't let it do that. No matter how bad things look, you have to be allied with humanity. And you have to understand that a lot of people are just being manipulated by it. It's not their fault. But if you have that true heart within you, you know, especially if you have been taking steps to knowledge, and you're really coming to understand these deeper relationships, that deeper thing that unifies humanity, that deeper service that's coming out of you, that is very clean, very clear, very certain. You're not condemning the world. You're not condemning other people just because of their fucking political views and all this. The intervention is hoping that you will. That's what they hope you'll do, because they want you to stay just at the surface. And they want to tantalize you with their technology eventually. They've already done this with certain people in governments, but some of them are not being taken in by it. They know it's not a good presence. So you can't lose faith in humanity. The new message has said this, that there are some elements within governments that are actually opposed to the intervention. They're not for it, they are against it. Because they know that they're two-faced. They'll say something here and then do another thing there. They're actually like, kind of like that post that Mark just made about the intervention, how like the beings that are here are actually very low-level beings. They have no individuality, they have no, their capacities are very limited. They're very well trained in their capacity. They might be very proficient in what it is they do, but you as a human being have all kinds of elasticity. You can't be pulled in by their tactics so easily. We are far more spiritually advanced than they are. And when Pluto enters Aquarius in 2023 and in 2024, you are going to feel it. We're all going to be in this channel. That's why right now there's like a gathering. And this gathering is getting bigger and bigger. And by the time 2023, 2004 gets here, this gathering needs to really get its act together and become strengthened by the new message. Become strengthened by the deeper knowledge within them and within you. And when Pluto does enter Aquarius, it's going to be very powerful to be able to bring this message into the world with more certainty than ever before. Because it's going to be right in front of our face. Everybody is going to have to deal with this, whether they like it or not. Just like when Pluto enters every other sign. Like when Pluto entered Capricorn. It didn't matter if you don't like astrology and you think it's all stupid. or if you think this, or if you think that. When Pluto entered Capricorn, so many people lost their life savings. So many people went bankrupt. So many people lost their homes. You know, it doesn't matter if you think astrology is bullshit. That's what fucking happened. That's why I'm trying to bring this to people's attention, because it's so important to understand this. They are really going to start trying to play their aces at that time, the intervention, and the human representatives of the intervention. They're really going to start trying to pull out their aces. They're really going to start trying to forge ahead in ways that you just won't believe. Right now, you might not be able to believe it. Yeah, right now we see sightings. Some people are targeted by the intervention. Some people are channeling intervention forces in order to promote pacification program type teachings just about selfishness and solipsism and all that. Yeah, we see that. But that's kind of like a softening up. Really big things are going to be happening this decade. Another important date to be aware of is 2027, when Pluto will have made one full revolution since the discovery of Uranus in 1781. Now, 1781 was around the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. That's why Uranus has a lot to do with our technological development as a race, which again connects Uranus to Aquarius. Uranus subsequently became the ruling planet of Aquarius because their meanings are so well linked to people who pay attention. That's why they made that correlation. Same thing with Pluto. That's why Pluto rules Scorpio, because their meanings are so well correlated. So when Pluto will have made one full revolution around all these signs, dredging up all the darkness, and it's like a cleansing and a purification as well. Things are brought to the surface to be recognized, purified, and cleansed. Darker content. Now Pluto has went through almost all the signs doing this work, cleansing us. A lot of it has to do with healing, because humanity really needs to heal and clean and dredge up stuff. And that's part of why there's such a huge healing movement these days. And we're very close to Pluto having made one full revolution. And this deeper healing, you're going to find that it really comes with a new message. There are so many healing modalities I've done a lot of them, and they are very useful, some of them. Doesn't matter if you're talking shamanism, all kinds of different kinds of, therapeutic modalities that have been invented, emotion code, body code, tapping, ancestral work, all different kinds of great forms of psychotherapy and psychology. Things have really been moving ahead in an amazing way to help humanity heal in so many ways. But Pluto will have made one full revolution around all these signs to help us with this work. The real healing is in Aquarius. The real healing is the knowledge within you, the spiritual intelligence within you. It's about understanding the destiny of humanity and getting 100% on board with that. 100%. So that your whole being will be utilized for the evolution of humanity itself, and not just humanity, but other beings that are also allied with knowledge. This is redemption. That's true redemption. It's all over the new message. It's even in Secrets of Heaven. There's a quote in Secrets of Heaven that says, when when you understand that your world is emerging into the greater community of worlds, this will redeem you. You will want to be completely involved, for then you will become complete. That's just a paraphrasing of it, but that's basically what it says. Your deepest desire is to become completely involved in this, because that will fulfill your destiny in being here in the world at this time. Absolutely. A lot of us are sensing this. We're feeling that this is approaching. It's getting very close. And just to reiterate, when Pluto does enter Aquarius, it does it for the first time, March 23rd, 2023. That's when it goes in for the first time. It will retrograde and go back out for a few months. Then it will re-enter Aquarius permanently January 20th, 2024, the very day that the Sun also enters Aquarius, which is a massively profound synchronicity. This is not just a game. This is not just some kind of dumb little horoscope you read in a newspaper. This is unbelievably profound. Of course, there's gradation. There's a before, a during, and an after. You can feel it. There's a softening up that Pluto does. It's like a softening up. It helps you prepare. We're feeling that right now. There is a gathering to the new message. There's a recognition. There's a deeper recognition. There's a dedication. But there's also, like Marshall has said, there's development. So I hope I've brought this to people's attention sufficiently. That's not an arbitrary thing. That's not just some inconsequential thing. This is extremely consequential. And it's very useful to be aware of it. I'm not saying you have to be all freaked out about it. Like I said, it's all about gradation. But being able to be aware of it, just being aware, is very useful. And yeah, being aware of these dates and then reading a revelation like building your ark, I'd say that's pretty important. Building your ark and being conscientious about that kind of thing. Just being aware. You don't need to freak out, but there's a kind of hyper alertness that can come with that. You could call it fear, but there's a very healthy hyper alertness. It can be exciting as well, because you can tell that a deeper part of yourself wishes to be utilized, fully utilized, so that none of you is wasted. None of your true abilities are wasted. You will stop wasting time. You will stop wasting your life. You will stop wasting your thoughts and energy on just things that don't matter. All that kind of thing. All of this is slowly being brought to a point. This kind of thing will be starting to be deeply channeled into the world at that time. And it's important to be aware of it and in alignment with it, so that you can carry the message into the world through your own knowledge, through your own actions in the world, through your own contribution and service, through your own understanding, through your own practice. This new message will really start to take hold, because the world will be absolutely ready for it. But you have to be ready for it. So, thank you for watching.